So I'm quoting her. At my core, I'm an analytical marketer before marketing analytics was cool. And I was an early adopter of marketing automation and web analytics and led the implementation and adoption of marketing automation platforms so our team could track, test, and tweak marketing campaigns for optimal results. So many of the subjects we're discussing here today all talk about marketing and the results that you can get from either self-marketing, company marketing, or whatever, corporate marketing. She says, I recently returned to the boating marine industry where I first started my marketing career, and I'm really excited about using my digital marketing skills to drive business growth. And Mary Strauss of Galati Yachts, who's going to be our moderator. And I understand, Mary, that your panelists are going to introduce themselves.
Yes,
okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Bob. As Bob said, I'm Mary Strauss. I'm marketing director with Galati Yacht Sales. I also am an IYB MLS committee member, and Galati Yachts was one of the first companies to adopt the IYBA portal. So if you go to our website and look at the Galati listings, those are all from the IYBA portal. And if anybody wants to talk to me about that afterwards, if you're not using it, I'd be glad to have those conversations. Today, we've got this great panel. We're going to talk about high-impact, low-cost marketing. But before we do that, I'd like to know a little bit about the audience. So is there everybody that does marketing, whether you're a videographer, whether you're a social media, content writer, web developer, anybody that dabbles in marketing, could you raise your hand? Okay. What about like the back office, business office, finance? A few of those. And then sales/yacht brokers. Okay, of those that have their hands up right now, how many of you have marketing support or are you on your own?
The best support.
Thanks,
Good
Nick, I love
answer.
you. All right, so it's kind of a mixed bag, but it's good to know who our audience is so that we can tailor our questions. So before we begin with our introductions, I want to just kind of tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to do introductions, then I'll ask the questions, and then at the end, like the other panels, we'll take some Q&A. So with that, Josh, I'm going to turn it over to you if you don't mind introducing yourself and talking about your marketing background.
So my name is Josh. I have the privilege of leading our marketing at Denison Yachting. I've been involved with marketing since 2008. I started developing websites really on a freelance basis and kind of took off from there. I would do local websites for all kinds of businesses. My family's been involved with yachting since I can remember in the teenage years. They are into competitive sports fishing. So those two passions kind of merged, I would say in 2014. And eventually I joined Rybovich. That was my first start in the yachting space. And that evolved eventually to Denison, which I have been with for a little over 4 years.
Awesome. Randy?
Yeah, my name's Randy Thomas. I'm a publisher with Print Dynamics, and I market in the South Florida market.
My name is Fly Navarro. I'm a fisherman. That's the way I describe myself to this day. But I've used social media since I got fired from my job in Hawaii back in 2014. I started using social media to promote some of my fishing adventures. And with that, I kind of backed into a social media marketing and promotion company, which now has led to me owning an alcohol distribution company to all the military bases, a full-fledged digital marketing company, a partnership with a full-fledged media production company, and we're in the middle of launching 4 new television networks, all based around the sport fishing community. And I've used social media to brand myself and all the things that I do across the globe.
So I think it's a great place to start. So social media, love it or hate it, it's obviously here to stay. I think I read a stat that TikTok actually has more searches daily than Google does now. So like I said, love it or hate it, it's here. So Fly, you've built several businesses. What advice would you give to a yacht broker for social, whether he's dabbling or he's got a great following?
This is your brand. This right here, your face. It was something that we had a conversation of, and I remember you and me, Josh, we actually talked about it. You may have a marketing company or marketing team with your brokerage, but you are your own brand. You want to become that resource for people to come to constantly. And in the process, it could be one time every 3 years, you sell them a new boat or you help them buy one. But social media should be used to brand yourself, engagement, talk to your people. It shouldn't be don't be that friend that only calls when you're trying to sell them a boat. You should be providing them with good information 365 days a year. And so when they are ready to either buy or sell a boat, they're recognizing your face. To me, that's the most important thing.
So, Josh, what type of content works best on social media? Or does
Yeah.
it depend on the platform?
It definitely depends on the platform. I think I always have this rule of thumb where content should be inspirational and it should be informative. So I think if you are just trying to create, again, in the context of selling yachts, it's quite easy to create inspirational content. I think the product itself is quite inspirational. But when you create your content strategy or you just create a bunch of posts, what you want to think about is, no, don't just create or have a picture of a profile of the boat and then call it a day, say, hey, here's the specs of the boat. But really think about how you can engage your audience with that content. So whether it's, in the copy, you let them know this is the lifestyle you can, strive for, or you can have. Everyone knows that yachting provides that luxury of spending more time with family. So inspirational content, there's lots of different ways you can do that. And the other side is kind of what we were just chatting about, is informative, be educational. There is a lot to know. There's so many different categories of boating. There's so many destinations. There's so many technical things you can discuss. There's another rule of thumb I use is, it's very common in the marketing space, is jab, jab, hook, or give, give, ask. So you want to be giving educational content, informative content, more than you ask, more than you put your product and say, hey, buy this. You want to be constantly giving, and then eventually, presenting your content and saying, or your product and saying, hey, this is the ask. So you need to have a balanced approach to content.
So I think some people are afraid of social media because of the comments, positive or negative. So Fly, we talked about this before. How do you deal with your comments, both positive and negative?
Am I allowed to curse? I don't give a shit about negative comments. You're still talking about me. And to be honest with you, if you have thank you. I really don't. And if you do have something negative to say, actually, I'm going to give you a perfect example. I have a picture that I posted, or a video that I posted a couple of weeks ago. It's since gone viral. It was of a shark, and people were complaining, and I actually had a girl reach out to me and say, I've reported you to the Coast Guard to pull your captain's license away. I've reached out to Instagram to pull your account away. And she started tagging all her friends in it. And all I had to say, well, I don't answer negative comments. I don't get into online fights or wars. That's just not me. It's not the platform to do it on. But what she did is Facebook, all the algorithm, they don't know if it's a negative or positive content or comment. So once they start commenting, what they're doing is they're pushing me up in the algorithm so more people see it. So even if at first it might be half negative, before you know it, the right people start seeing it. And before you know it, you have 3 million people looking at your content. But if you're worried about somebody saying negative about you, do they pay your bills? I don't give a shit if somebody has something to say negative about me. And if it's something that you feel that is that detrimental to your business, it shouldn't be dealt with online. I've had some negative comments. I've had some issues online where I literally jumped on a plane. I flew out to Hawaii, and I confronted the person face to face. And it wasn't a mean, hey, let's get into a fight. It was something as simple as, hey, man, I've only got X amount of time. Does anybody in this room have more than 24 hours in a day? Anybody? Okay, so we're all working with the same amount of time. And it's what you do with that time. And what I said to the person was, hey, listen, I love for you to take part in my event every year, but do I need to continue to budget 10 to 15 hours to put out your fire every year? Ever since then, it's stopped. Most of the time, people are just keyboard cavaliers, keyboard cowboys, And they have no problem talking smack about you online. But when you talk to them face to face, we all put our pants on the same way. Don't worry about the negative comments. Ignore them. The positive ones, and talking about comments, every day I sit down on my couch at 6 o'clock. I pop open a can of LaCroix, and I answer every single comment on all 32 platforms that I'm on. If people ask me a question, I answer their comment. If they're taking the time out to speak to you, you better give them the time to speak to them. And it could be something as simple, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I am going to call out somebody. I see Chris right now. Chris, he's a broker. He posts up fishing pictures every single day. Whenever he goes out fishing, whether they're his clients, they're his friends, he's putting himself out there. And when somebody comments, you better answer them back, even if it's just a thank you. You get direct access to your clients, to your customers, to your people every single day. If they're talking something negative about you, I'm sorry you feel that way, or don't answer. The positive ones, jump on it, say thank you, answer their questions. And it's no different than us talking face to face. You got an opportunity of having an amplifier to sit there and give you the opportunity to talk to hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of people at one time. Take advantage of it.
So Josh, for you, do you think, some people just want to use social media for branding, or they don't really understand it. Have you actually sold boats through social media, or has Denison sold boats?
Yeah,
Can you point to that?
Absolutely.
How do you track that?
Yeah, how do you track it? I'll start with the first. We've definitely sold many boats through social media. I think social media has definitely evolved to what it was, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's become very strategic in the sense that you can be very analytical with results. You can be very purpose-driven, data-driven. So there's a slew of tools, free tools, that whether it's Facebook or TikTok or whichever platform, especially the Facebook, Instagram combo, that you can be intentional with, hey, I've gotten this many impressions, I got these clicks from social media so I can track where it came from, and eventually we can attribute that to a sale. Now, obviously, we all know that these products aren't like selling ties where you can just say, hey, they clicked and then they purchased, they checked out their cart. There's a long life cycle, but we can definitely get a rough understanding of, hey, this is the cost per acquisition, this is the cost of getting this many impressions to this demographic. It's definitely tricky. That's really the toughest part about marketing, is being able to understand that return on investment, return on ad spend. But it's definitely possible, and it's definitely effective.
Thank you. I've got one more question on social media before we move off this target or subject. Since video is the core of social media, how do you make people that aren't stars comfortable on camera? And anyone can answer that question. So if you have little experience on camera, how do you make people comfortable?
I'll jump on it because I love being on the camera. The first thing, let's rewind a little bit. And we're talking about social media, and people get confused a lot of times. They think social media is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Social media and social media as platforms are anytime you give your customer the opportunity to talk to you directly. Love them or hate them, President Trump was the very first president that gave the American people direct access to a president, to what he said. So you need to look at social media as that. You're getting direct access to your customers. And social media doesn't have to be Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. It could be email marketing. It could be mass text messages, anything that gives your customers direct access to you. Now, that being said, going back to what you said in videos, be authentic. That's the biggest thing. You can be inspiring, you can be educational, but be yourself. If you're not yourself, people can see it. I know when I'm on camera, if I'm not having a good day, I can see it. Most people might not, but I can see it. You want to be authentic. And if you're authentic, people feel comfortable with you as you travel and go places. They want to come up and talk to you because they feel like they know you. That's where video has been so nice. And depending on where you put your video, whether it becomes Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, if you put it on your email marketing campaigns, I see a lot of the different brokerage companies, they're getting their guys out there in front of the camera talking about their boats. If you're not that comfortable, bring somebody on there with you. I know me, I can sit there and talk to a camera for an hour, but I love sitting in front of the camera with 2 or 3 people and, hey, let's talk about this boat. I just did a video, and I'm happy to share it with any of you. I was in Japan for the Yokohama Boat Show back in March, and I went through the new Lexus boat, and I spoke no English. I spoke no Japanese, but I had a full-fledged conversation with everybody on camera because it was a back and forth. So if you're not comfortable on camera, bring somebody on that is and talk with them. Have them ask you the questions about the boat. Here's the list. These are the things that this boat offers. Have them ask you the question, hey, what kind of, does this thing have a seakeeper? Well, actually, it has a seakeeper, fill in the blank. What kind of engines does it have? And bring somebody on the camera with you. Make it a natural conversation about your product. And then, I got to go back to it, answer their comments. If you're posting it out there and people are asking you stuff about it, don't make it sound like you're not answering them, because you just lost an opportunity. Somebody else is going to answer them. And if I was a boat broker, I would wait for everybody to post stuff, and I'd answer all the questions. But that's why I'm not a boat broker.
If I can just add to both Josh and Fly's comments. So the end result is obviously to sell a yacht using social media, but that's not necessarily where you want to start. You mentioned Chris posts lots of pictures about fishing. And so what you want to use social media to do is cultivate your audience. Okay, once you cultivate your audience and grow your audience and have trust, then you can pivot and understand and turn them into prospects. And how you turn your audience into prospects is by, just like both of these guys mentioned, asking questions. Once you post your fishing pictures, once you post your authenticity, once you curate your audience, then you're able to pivot and turn them into prospects through strategic questions. And what asking questions does is it allows the audience to realize that they might have a yacht buying problem that they didn't know about. Once you address the problem, then you can effectively sell them. And that's where social media is a huge tool, specifically for sales.
Yeah. So I'm going to move away from that topic for a minute and talk a little bit more about branding. And we started the conversation about branding, and you have to brand yourself. So Randy, can you tell us why branding is so important? Like, what is branding? Why is it important? And how can you do it on the cheap?
Well, branding is very important because, just like Fly mentioned, your face, you know, that's your company's identity. That's what people are going to remember you by. That's what, when they're looking at your competition in the market, that's what's going to differentiate you. And I think less is always more. It's important to work with a good designer to really understand what your core message is, you know, and that should be conveyed. You should be able to look at a brand and understand their core values and who they are in 3 seconds. And if that's not clearly showcased, then you're not doing a good job branding.
All right, great. Anything to add, Josh?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think a key word with branding is consistency. So yeah, definitely visual consistency. Work with a designer. Consistency in your messaging, so you have a tone. I'm big into the human face. I'm not big into corporate branding. I think people really, it resonates with them when you can be human. So just getting your face out there. We try to facilitate that for our brokers. We create these in-house tools for them to just get out there, create content. We streamline it, but just being able to get your face out there and do it consistently, regularly. Going back to video really quick is just repetition. You get comfortable with something when you do it, regularly. And the beauty with Instagram is that they have stories that go away in 24 hours. So you're going to be able, you might sound silly in the beginning. The more you do it, the better you're going to get. And if you really are terrified, there's even other tools like transcription tools where you can literally write out what you want to say in front of your iPhone, and they're free tools. And it'll just go down like a teleprompter. I meant to say teleprompter, not transcription. But it'll go down, and you can read it off and record the video and upload it later. But yeah, repetition is definitely key.
Yeah. You mentioned content. How can brokers work with their marketing teams on content and ideas and that type? I know you have a formalized program. We have a little bit looser program, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. It's kind of what I mentioned with, we created this in-house tool where each broker, because we touch so many different categories, like super yachts, catamarans, sailboats, usually brokers have certain niches and categories that they specialize in. So what we try to do is prop them up, put them at the forefront. So we use some tools to say, hey, we're going to pose these questions. We'll allow them to answer it, and then we'll just cultivate that and create, we'll streamline that across multiple platforms. We will, use that in different forms, so whether it's video or copy. So yeah, in-house tools and really tapping into niches, because to be very vague on social media and just talk about yachting in general doesn't resonate as much as being very topic specific and niche.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you guys are the experts. You're talking to customers every single day. You probably get asked the same questions over and over again. So you can go to your marketing team. We're always looking for content for our website. Mm-hmm. So, we can interview you, or you can write it, or, your marketing team will help you put it together. You can put it on their, the corporate website, your own website, put it out on social. So it really amplifies, but you really have to remember that you are the experts and you do get asked all the questions. So turn that around and use that. So that's, kind of wrapping it up on branding. And now we talked a little bit amongst ourselves before about how the internet gives you worldwide exposure. But Josh, on a local level, what does Denison do? And I know, Randy, you have some thoughts on that as well. So could we talk about some local marketing?
Yeah, I think that's a critical part of marketing, because I think we can be overly ambitious and say, I want to dominate the world. I want everybody in the world to see my content. But if you really focus, again, on that niche, on that local market, we rely, again, on our brokers. We ask them, what's going on in your community? We have 20 plus offices, so we depend on them to tell us, hey, this, let's just use an example, like a Little League baseball team. There's this event happening that really is targeting a key demographic, and whether it's sponsoring, something like that, or partnering with, synergistic companies that are going to agree to share our content, really collaborate with us. It's quite important, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Sharing content can be free. Guest blogging, guest posting. If you see, hey, there's this very influential company in my space, or that overlaps with yachting, reach out to them. Say, hey, I'd like to offer some free articles, free guest topics. Write something out, maybe run it through your marketing team, and that's another great way to tap into some local marketing.
Randy, do you want to comment about the events that you have done?
Yeah,
and
I
hosted?
think that in the luxury sector, whether it's yachts or luxury real estate or private aviation, strategic partnerships are very important, specifically around events and local events. We talk about digital components, we talk about social media and SEO and all that. Well, events are the #1 driver of all that. So it's nice when you can have, and just looking around the room, we have attorneys, we have insurance people, we have support industries that help the yacht brokers do what they do. And so even on a small level, it's good to have a group of colleagues that you can come together, create an event around, and have guys like Fly come and promote all you guys, and as Josh mentioned, share the content, cross-promote it. And before you go, you got a room full of people sharing your content. And so it goes out to an extended audience. And
Do you want to talk a little bit about what you did with the realtors and the yachts and I can't even remember who you had the influencers?
Yeah, so again, that goes into the events, and just to use an example, what Denison did, Josh did this past boat show with Home and Motor Cars and Florida Luxurious Properties, which is a local luxury real estate firm, as well as Fort Lauderdale Magazine, a publication that I publish. We all kind of collaboratively through what would you call it, a concierge mansion for the boat show. Denison provided tenders in and out of the show. We had shuttles back and forth to their office, and we had parties all week. We hosted Rolls-Royce North America, we hosted Bentley and Aston Martin, and it was just it was a luxury event at the White House in Fort Lauderdale, a beautiful property, and everybody got their value. Nobody had to, it was a bunch of non-compete partners. Everybody brought their resources to the table, and in the end, it was super successful for all involved.
So, the tough question, I'm going to ask all of you. If a yacht broker came to you and they said, I have $1,000 to spend on marketing, what advice would you give them? Who wants to take it?
I got this.
Okay.
Go for it.
So I would give it back to them. You know, it's all about relationships and trust, and it's no different than the yacht brokers and their clients. And so, you know, marketing and advertising is a goal-oriented process. And if you don't have a set of goals and a criteria of what you're trying to accomplish, that $1,000 is going to be a waste. It's going to be a waste. So more importantly, you should assess your platform. You should assess what you're trying to do, what your goals are, and what you're trying to accomplish. Once you clearly understand what you're trying to accomplish as a sales executive, then you can build your advertising and your media around what you're already trying to do to help you play to your strengths and bring value to what you're already doing. That's what I would say.
Can I give
Nothing
my,
comes cheap these days. I'm
Can
sorry.
I give my
That's for sure.
$1,000?
I know. Go for it.
If somebody came up to me, yacht broker, and they said, I got $1,000 to spend, how do I market it? I would tell them, with that $1,000, go to as many restaurants that you can go to that you can access by boat. Take lots of nice pictures with your iPhone, and then write a review about your dinner. That how you went to that dinner by boat, post about it online, write a review about the restaurant, the service, what kind of food you ate, the pictures, and keep posting that online. And as people start contacting you and asking you about that, those people become potential clients, potential collaborators. But what you've just offered people is you've offered people something that they can do on their boat. You've offered them the opportunity, hey, I can go to this restaurant with my new boat. And this person right here knows the right restaurants to go to. And you just had, hopefully you had 5 good meals, but with the inflation nowadays, it might be 3. But what you've just done with that $1,000, you've just created content. You've created a great partnership with that restaurant. And now you become somebody that people want to go and talk to and ask you about, hey, tell me about that restaurant. I've always wanted to go by boat. That person may own a 25 Grady White today, but tomorrow they might own a 100-foot Fed ship. You don't know. But you just created this content that is going to live out there forever. And that's what I would do. If somebody would ask me, that's what I'd tell them to do. With $1,000, you can create some pretty cool content and go to some cool places and meet some cool people.
Yeah. Just to add to that too, because that's definitely a creative way, and I think like a non-orthodox way to really get the most bang for that $1,000. I think we because of our space, you know, it's very competitive, it's very niche. $1,000 may not seem like a lot, but when it comes to, you know, other industries, $1,000 can go really far. I always scale it back to say, okay, do a Google search. If somebody is looking to make the biggest purchase, or maybe the biggest purchase of their life, oftentimes they'll just Google search your name, see what comes up. That is so critical to your success. Don't rely on the corporate marketing. Really own the narrative. I've seen a lot of our brokers they have their own landing page. So that's a great use, is, you know, have a landing page that at Denison we try to centralize our marketing. So these websites, these personal broker websites, they don't necessarily compete with Denison. It all is part of our central marketing strategy, and I think that allows you to control the narrative. And with any additional money that's left, I would get on Google and just point to that site. All the organic efforts that you guys are doing for free, organic meaning free, pointed to that one place that the website is your foundation. So it should be the foundation of any good marketing strategy. So definitely the web presence, your digital footprint, along with some paid advertisement. It's become really pay to play in today's very saturated market. So it's quite important.
Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think we're running close on time. Are we good? Okay, then I got one more. Actually, I got two more. So we all know it's less costly to get a new customer than it is to keep the current customer. Did I say that right? Yeah. So how do you guys stay in front of your current customers, your current clients? What tips do you have? Anybody?
Print. Mail.
Lots of content. I want you to open up the internet every day and see my face. I will work my ass off. If you don't see me, you see one of my pictures, you see one of my tournaments, you see one of my events, you see one of my companies. It's persistence. Constant. If you miss, people are fickle. If you go 2 months and don't post something, it's hard to when you lose momentum. You got to be constant. Put it out there. Post a picture. Show them what the life of a boat broker is. I mean, my content is the life of a fisherman every day when I go out fishing, or what I'm doing. It's not uncommon for me just on my personal social. I'm posting anywhere from 6 to 12 pictures a day when I'm fishing. It's constant. And my company stuff. At my tournament, I have my largest event of the year coming up on the 4th of July. Right now, I'm at about 10 to 15 pictures a day, and by the time the tournament comes up, I'm probably posting 20 to 25 pictures a day. Pictures, videos, and I'm not talking about stories. You want to add that, now you're starting to get up to 20 or 40 pictures. But me personally, I want lots of content out there. I'm a fisherman, and what I want is a lot of baits out there. I want a lot of opportunities where people can touch something, and all my stuff is integrated to itself. So if you touch one of my pictures, one of my podcasts, one of my how-to videos, next thing you know, you can literally trace it back and get right back to me. And I do that on purpose.
So Josh, how does Denison stay in front of their clients and keep them close?
Yeah, I think taking a holistic approach is super important. Being able to, yes, social media is free. People are on it all day long. We have to remember it's extremely saturated. And it's like if I don't look at somebody's profile in a day or two, it's already, the algorithm changes and I see a completely different feed. So the holistic approach is, email marketing, print, video marketing, just using
A tiered platform.
Yeah, using a tiered platform to say, hey, even if you don't go into my preferred platform, I'm still going to find a way to show up at your doorstep, direct mailers. And being able to have a holistic approach keeps you diversified, just like, in our bear market, it's important to be diversified. Now, the other thing I mentioned is consistency. So make sure that you're not, just tossing your line out once in the water and then the next day you don't do it. Make sure you're doing that day in and day out. And again, all of the things we've been saying with when it comes to providing value. Don't just put your product out there and say, buy now. Just give somebody, answer questions your audience is actually asking. And it's never been easier to find that out. Just go to Google, type in the keyword, scroll down, and there's a list of questions. So, yeah.
If I can add to that also, Fly mentioned developing content. Content's king. And Josh mentioned having a multi-tiered platform. And so you're going to have different kinds of content. And specific to your question, Mary, a good to engage your existing clients, a good content formula is FOMO. FOMO, fear of missing out. So, at your boat shows, you're developing content, ringing the bell. Maybe it's at a rendezvous. Maybe it's something that shows the lifestyle. And that's real. And when you can curate that kind of content and show your customers that they're missing out, that's big. That pulls them back into you. And not only is it great for existing customers, but that's a big part of closing prospective customers, because that FOMO builds urgency. And without the urgency, it becomes very hard to close them.
That's a great point. All right, lightning round, this or that. Email or text?
Text.
Email.
Email.
Be embarrassed or be afraid?
Embarrassed.
Embarrassed.
I don't get the question.
Would you rather be embarrassed or would you be afraid?
Say it again.
Be embarrassed or be afraid?
I'm afraid of everything.
Okay. Password or secret handshake?
What's that?
Password or secret handshake?
Oh man, that's awesome. Secret handshake, absolutely.
Handshake.
Handshake for sure.
All right.
Forget all the
Bolts,
passwords.
bolts or avalanche?
Bolts or what?
Is that what they call Colorado Avalanche, right? The game tonight. Bolts, lightning,
sorry.
come on.
Keep it Florida. Keep it Florida.
You got to be authentic. I don't know. I have no idea.
All right. That's because we're from Tampa, so we follow that stuff over there. All right, so we won't go on that one for this East Coast guys. So last one, questions or answers?
Answers?
Randy?
They go together. You can't have one without the other.
Answers.
All right, let's go. Let's do the questions.
Okay, so we've got.
Paul, can I just, before you start asking questions,
Do you
there's
want to
something.
ease a word in edgewise there? Did you?
What's
Fly?
that?
Did you want to slide a word in edgewise?
I just want to add one thing, and I don't know about everybody in this audience, but me personally, I'm very, very impatient. But there's something about social media that you need to understand. You have to be patient. The things that I talked about that I am doing today is because of social media that I did 5 to 8 years ago. This stuff, you don't just post a picture of a boat for sale right now and you get somebody that calls tomorrow. You have to be consistent, you have to be authentic, but you have to be patient. This stuff takes a while. You got to keep posting it up and don't give up on it. It's not costing you anything to post a picture or to do a quick video. Be patient. Understand this is going to take some time. Don't let 6 months go by and say, well, this is not working and give up on it. Social media is here to stay, whether you like it or not. So just be patient and find what you like so you can be consistent with it. Anyway, go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
Can I offer some questions up to the audience now, Fly?
Okay,
All
go
right,
ahead.
good. So you got 4 experts up here, and there's got to be something you want to know about print, about social media, about how to promote your own brand better. What questions? We got one back here.
I just wondered if anyone was familiar, instead of going, you know how they have Go Live, if that with the algorithm for Google ranks you any higher than, let's say, a recorded video.
Could you repeat that? I didn't hear the whole thing.
So does live broadcasting rank you higher than other forms of social media, like Google ranking?
On Facebook at the moment, yes. Anything live. There's a couple of, and I'll be more than happy afterwards to share some of the, you can see every new product that comes out on every new platform. And just today I read one that Instagram's coming out with a new product. When you find out what their new product is and you use it, you're going to get pushed up in their algorithm. They're going to want you to do it. So when Facebook Live came out, it was literally the first year I took over the Blue Marlin World Cup, and I started doing live updates every 3 hours. And to this day, when we go, every live update I do, on average, I'm getting 10 to 15,000 people watching every 3 hours. So they push it up extremely high. During the pandemic, when I started my podcast, I started because I was going crazy sitting on the couch by myself. I was used to traveling. So I'd sit with my phone, with my 2 phones, and I started going live from my driveway. And it was nothing to get, 5,000 to 8,000 people watching because everybody was stuck on their couch. And because it pushed you to the top of the algorithm, what I did for my friends, just like you guys, hey, put your business in there because Facebook will not let you put a link on their platform. They just squash you in the algorithm. But if that link is in the comments, it doesn't slow anything down. So I'd get 2,000 or 3,000 comments, and I'd have my friends, hey, you have a print company, you have a boat brokerage, you're a charter guy. Put your links in my comment, and everybody that's watching can now connect with you. So there's ways to get around that, the different algorithms. But right now on Facebook, anything live gets pushed up pretty high.
What other questions do we have? Mike's over there with a microphone, so he's tending that side of the room.
So thank you guys for all the information. Obviously, we're all taking it in. When it comes to Instagram, what is your take on hashtags? Is it better to use more or better to use the right ones?
Definitely use an appropriate amount, and that's usually between 5 to 6. If you go beyond that, it's too much. And if you do just 1 or 2, you could be missing out. They constantly change their algorithm, so the beauty of this is you can just Google it. What is the appropriate amount of hashtags? And be very strategic with your hashtags. Hashtags, they serve a function, so it's like keywords. Don't just think of a random word and just throw a hashtag before it. Actually go to the search function of Instagram and type in that hashtag. See how many people are using it, and then create those, that bucket of hashtags that you want to use regularly.
I want to explain how important a hashtag is. I'm a little bit different. I'll post 25 to 30 hashtags, but I'm just different. But just to let you know how it works, back in 2018, I was fishing in Australia, and I got an email from the University of China in Beijing, and they asked me to go to Hainan Island to their tourism forum and to speak on how I use social media to promote fishing and tourism. So I flew there, and I went to China, and I spoke at the university, and I got a chance to meet with a bunch of different people. The guy before me was from Instagram. The guy after me was from the Discovery Channel. And here I'm just a fisherman. And I posted 29 minutes of raw content of me fishing all over the world. And afterwards, I wanted to know how they found me. And the girl said, well, every time we'd look up the hashtag travel blogger, you were 1 out of every 3 pictures. Every time we put traveler, you were 1 out of every 3 pictures. So they found me through a hashtag. They found me through several hashtags. You don't know which is the one that they're going to find you with, but they will find you. It's search. So find the ones that are important to what you guys are doing. Maybe, especially right now, fuel consumption, how to save on fuel. That could be something that's important for the next 12 to 18 months. But hashtags are always changing. I keep them on my notes. Anytime I go somewhere, I'm in this country, I found the ones that the boards of tourism are using, the local people are using, and I put them together, and I take advantage of whatever they'll give me. So I know on Instagram 30 is that number. I usually stay with around 25, so I can add 2 or 3 more if I have to.
This kind of pertains to, this is like a little bit of a 2-part question. Does it matter, like let's say you had a post a year ago and you went back to that post that didn't have any hashtags, would it be beneficial to add hashtags to that post? And then when you do post, is there an algorithm involved in putting the hashtags in the caption of the post itself, or doing it in the comments?
Okay, I'll go ahead and answer that. It's kind of a twofer. So, especially Instagram, they love to see comments go up automatically. So if you're putting your hashtags in the comments, it looks really good in the algorithm. What I like to do sometimes, I just add a comment. Hey man, happy to answer any questions. They like to see that once your pictures go up. I know there's certain people that I follow. As soon as they post something, I get a notification. Well, Instagram knows that. Facebook knows that. So if they start seeing that you have a lot of people that are commenting automatically, like when I go live, I know that there's a lot of people that have their notifications set up for that. So once people get notified, they're going to start pushing you higher up in that algorithm.
One more question over here.
Just in general, I know that it's not necessarily the flashiest, but what do you guys think of LinkedIn? I know a lot of the brokers here do use it, and just wanted to kind of get your comments on the best way to use that.
LinkedIn's fantastic. It's a fantastic platform, specifically for executives and business people. it's your content that you curate on LinkedIn is definitely going to be different than your Facebooks and your Instagram. It's a little more
Professional.
yeah, I'd say professional or factual and less lifestyle, but more, what would you say?
More corporate-y, for sure.
Yeah, just more about the business.
Number one employment agency in the world.
Is it?
Is it really?
One additional thought.
More so than Google and YouTube?
I read that in the Wall Street Journal.
Okay.
It's a great
Yeah.
sales tool. It gives you access to C-suite executives with a click of your button. You're not going to get that anywhere else.
That's what I was going to say. It's just like it's just such a different platform. The algorithm, the user base is not as saturated as the other ones. It's for our space here. Our target audience is using it. Not everyone is on TikTok. Not saying that it's a bad platform to be on, but LinkedIn is you can see the person's qualifications immediately. And if you're really strategic, you can super target exactly what you're looking for, whether it's business owners or certain positions. You can do that in bulk, and it's very, very effective.
LinkedIn Learning is also a very valuable tool for everybody in this room. We all aspire to be marketers on some level, whatever that may be. And LinkedIn Learning is a forum with videos, with best current practices. So if you don't fancy yourself a marketer, just Google LinkedIn Learning and watch some videos. Before you know it, if you stay consistent with that, you're going to learn the ins and outs and you'll be in good shape.
Never trust a Puerto Rican with a microphone. Ever.
Well, in that case, Jose Vicente, by the way. Yeah.
Dale.
On that phase, you talk Instagram, everybody, different platforms, and I'm glad because I had this question. You ended up saying about YouTube. Nobody mentioned YouTube in this platform. Is that fading away, or YouTube is still a main platform to use for all these platforms?
So we discussed video and the importance of video. We're definitely in the video era. It's certainly going to be emerging more and more with all of the assets that you guys are selling. So YouTube is huge. Whether you're doing email blasts, whether it's on your website, whether it's, YouTube's very important.
Yeah. And YouTube, I don't think most people realize it's the second biggest search engine. So you have Google, and then you have YouTube, owned by Google. So Google obviously favors their own video platform. And yeah, people just, they're drawn to video marketing. I think it's 80% more likely for someone to actually watch your video than just to look at your post. So algorithms love it, Google loves it, and that's really all you know.
I'm going to be an outlier. I think YouTube's already peaked. That's just my personal opinion. I think YouTube's already peaked. I think, unfortunately, YouTube and its parent company, Google, has already taken, and again, I hate to bring this up because this has nothing to do with it, but it's taken a political stance. So I think people as a whole are starting to split up a little bit. You're starting to see other video platforms out there. I'm not saying Google is going away. I'm just saying I personally feel it's peaked already. And you can look at other platforms such as Rumble. You can create your own on your own website that you don't have to house your videos onto YouTube. I house all my videos and all my podcasts on YouTube. But I'm starting to see a lot more companies start diverge to stay away from the politicization of some of the content that's out there nowadays. So just my own personal feeling, I think it's already peaked. I don't see it going away. I just think there's going to be, as we go forward, we're going to see more and more options on where you can put your videos. It's a great place to host them. I know when I helped the IGFA transform their entire rule book into videos, I stored them up on YouTube. They're still there. I have about 1,500 how-to videos on YouTube. I go to different tournaments all over the globe, and they grab my videos and they put it in their rules. Leader links have to be 30 foot, and there's a link to my YouTube channel. So it's gonna be there, and it's great to house the videos. But just my personal feeling, I think it's peaked, and there's a lot of new companies out there that are that are looking to diversify. So, and that's why I personally am on so many platforms, is because I want to see how they all work. You don't know when the next TikTok is going to come out or the next YouTube is going to come out. So that's why I like to be on all these. Something comes out, I'm on it. I want to see how it works. I want to see the engagement. I want to see the interaction. And me personally, I'm more of an, my content is more of outdoors. Instead of just boat related, even though people know me from being on boats and chasing marlin and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to do is every day I wake up and I try to introduce fishing to one new person. And some days I don't get that one new person, but the next day I might get 20. So, but
Video.
Yeah.
it's a, man, video, audio. I don't drive anywhere. I don't do anything without a podcast in my ear. Audio, it's one of those. There's still some context that's out there, but.
As I mentioned, we are in the video era, or we're going into the video era, so it's definitely not too late to get on the video, the bandwagon, and everybody in this room should be on it. Every man and woman in this room who's selling yachts should be investing or learning how to curate videos. What's going to end up happening is video is going to take over about 70% of the sales process. So a lot of the questions and a lot of the barriers to close that come up in your everyday interactions with your clients are going to be answered through these curated videos that are on your platforms, whether they're on your personal platforms or your brokerage platforms. So what that means is that you guys are going to have much more civil closings because you're only going to be communicating about 30% of the process with your clients, because if you're curating your videos properly, all the barriers to close are being answered in those videos.
Well, yeah, that's a great way to end it, because I know we're up on time. So thank you, and I want to thank the entire panel for helping with this and being really well prepared and answering the questions. And of course, we're going to be around. If anybody has questions afterwards, you can grab us. And like I said, if anybody wants to talk about the IYBA platform, if you're not on it, I would love to share my experiences. Thank you.